Welcome to part 11. Well, we're at the part where they're asking us in step 20 onwards, or step 19 I should say, to check the neutrality of the servos. Now if you don't fancy setting up all your radio and everything, you can always buy one of these, which is a servo tester. They're not expensive. I think this cost me about £3, something like that. They're cheap and cheerful, but they do the job. So this one's sort of dicking around a bit, probably because it's cheap and cheerful. Anyway, you have a selector switch in these, manual, neutral, in which case it should go to the middle, and auto, in which case it should do that. So that's working okay. So go back to manual, that does that. Shows you it's working correctly. And then you go to neutral, and it puts the servo into neutral. So now you can check your other servo. Remember which way up it goes. Okay, and we'll put that onto manual, put it over up, it's the wrong way around. There you go. So it's not working. No, it is. It's me. There you go. That's working. So put that there, put it over to neutral, and it goes to neutral. And that's all you got to do. Cheap, cheerful. I just run this off a Nikon battery. They're all the same, and to prove they're all the same, I have two. This is why do I have two? Well, because I couldn't find that one day, and I lost my patience and went out and bought another one, and then I found the original. What else do they ask you to do? Well, they ask you to put the servo blocks of wood in. This end you have to cut a slot for the cable. Make sure that you take off the end of the screw there, because you don't want it to screw down into this cable here. And the same for the opposing aileron servo. And that's your servos for that part done. And then in the next segment we're going to install the servos into the wing. Now don't forget to put your screw in the top there, that's important, that is. Come a crappie with that in the past. So let's move on. Well, I've installed the right hand servo as per instructions. Now let's see if I get the terminology correct. Now parts SW sheet 12 and SL from sheet 15. So they show, let's get the terminology correct, SL. So SL is here. That's a little bit fiddly to get in, because you've got to get the cable in the middle and hold it and wick it in. Okay, but I used the tweezers for that, so you know what's the point in getting upset. But basically, these mounts aren't long enough. So they ask you to glue it against here and here, and they just won't do it. So I've had to glue the servo itself to the rib and the mount partly to this cross member. There's no other way of doing it, and that's using everything, and you know nothing's been cut wrong or anything like that. And then you put this brace in, which helps to support this part here. I can't get it in straight, but you know, I know what it's for, I know what it does. So the only thing I can do now is to double check that that is going to move. So grabbing my servo tester, and I've not practiced this at all. Okay, let's get this right. Okay, neutral and auto. So yeah, it's hitting the forward part here. That's not good. It's moving the servo, which means you're going to have to cut a slot in that. No, this is not a good design. I don't know why they don't use this, because that goes in flat. Maybe it's something that at some point they're bound to see this. They're bound to see this at some point, and I think this is something they need to address. They'll probably say, "Oh well, you know, you're crap at it." Well, I probably am crap at it, but you know, there's a lot of other people that are crap at it as well. So yeah, I'll have to put a groove in there. They do say something about cutting through an X point, but I can't quite see exactly what it is they want from that. But certainly I'm not convinced about this. I can see this going wrong. I really can. Yeah. But what I will do is I will put this into a different position if I can, to keep this out of the way. I can see this getting damaged. I'm going to have to think of something better than this. Not impressed with that at all. So I might have to make my own parts for that. Shame really. Never mind. It is what it is, but anyway, put this together. Put this to one side before I break it. That's basically what they're asking you to do. I'm wondering if it's too late to unglue it. Do it properly. Don't know. Don't know. I mean, okay, that's not straight, but even so, should be better than that. Should be better than that. Yeah. So I can waggle that off. I'm going to waggle that off and reposition it. Anyway, so I'll have a look at the other side as well. Hi, well, wasn't too happy about the movement of the horn on the aileron. So this is what I've done. I'm going to explain what I've done in more detail presently. I haven't glued this in just yet, but I'm now going to show you the movement of the horn on the aileron. Now, as you've just seen, the horn was hitting this spar here, the middle spar. So I'm just going to plug in my tester, plug in the servo. There you go. I'm going to put this on automatic. There you go. Now, I don't know whether you can see that adequately. That horn is now missing that spar by a couple of mil, which is desirable, and in the opposite direction it's nowhere near the rib or anything else. So that's how it should be. Now, I used scrap balsa from sheet 22 because it's thick enough, and I just built it up. It's taken me a little while to figure it out how I wanted to do this. I'm not saying that what I'm doing here is the correct way. I'm just saying this is how I overcome what I found. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just showing you what I did to overcome that problem. Now, if there's anybody out there that's watching this or designed this or made this originally, you know, I'm not doing this to make a criticism. I'm doing this to make an observation. If somebody is offended by that, then I can't help you being offended. It isn't meant to be offended, to be offensive, but we have to think. And to think and talk and communicate, sometimes that means somebody's going to be offended, but that's not the intention. If we cannot talk and come up with different ideas, we're never going to move forward with anything. So let me give the dimensions of what I've done. Now that I have to point out, what's hindered me here is I've already put this in. So I've had to do this with the servo and the cable coming through. So that's kind of hindered me a little bit, which will not hinder me on the other side. And I'm going to copy what I did and then apply that to the other side. Now I've had to move the servo further back towards the aileron. All that means is I just need to shorten the rod slightly for the aileron. Will that have any effect? Well, it minor effect, but you know, not so great. It's going to impede the efficiency of the ailerons at all. They're still going to work okay. There's still going to be plenty of movement, so you know, I'm not feeling too badly about it. But as you can see, that servo's below the rib line, and they do say in the book that the servo is supposed to pop out slightly below that rib, which is why I'm wondering they didn't use a different type of servo. I think I would have done. But anyway, that's a different argument. Now I've had to change this because obviously if you move it, these are going to be in a different position. Okay, so I just use that as a template and made my own and moved this back, and I just sanded it, rounded it off. I've not glued this in just yet, but as you can see, the servo is moving quite freely, and I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. I did carve out this bottom end here just to make it flush with that rear rib. It just seemed like a natural thing to do, to be honest, because when you come to skin this, I'm not sure how I'm going to tackle this. Even if I did it the way that was done in the destructions, I just, you know, it doesn't seem quite right with me. I think if I was designing this and I was a draftsman and an engineer, I would have, and using it the same way that it is, I would have found a way of bringing that forward, and so that that rib would take up the width of that servo. And I know that it would mean putting more structure in, but I think that's how I would have done it if I was starting from scratch. And that's just my personal opinion. It isn't meant to piss anybody off or anything like that, or make myself sound clever. You know, there's going to be other people come across the same problem, surely, which makes me wonder how many of these wings with servos have been made before they marketed it. Now, if I was VMC and I was watching this, which I'm pretty sure they're going to see at some point, I go, you know what, maybe we ought to think about that. We'll make a Mark II. Maybe they'll say it'll cost too much money to do it. I don't know, but I'm just saying, because as I said before, nothing is perfect. Things in manufacture don't come out right first time every time, and to change the manufacturing, the toolings and the jigs that are designed to do this there's a cost involved. I get that, I understand that. That's all I'm saying, but that's how I have overcome it. And I'm not saying you should do it my way or any other way. I'm just saying that's how I've overcome it. Okay, and that's my opinion, what it's worth. I know it's not to piss anybody off. It's an observation. So I'll leave it at that then. And you know, if you're offended, well, tough. So I'll go on and do the opposite servo, and we'll crack on with the destructions. So there you are. This now gives you a good view of the leading edge there. As you can see, there's no cracks in it. That joint could be better. I think I probably should put something underneath there and then fill that in with sawdust and glue, sand it down. Probably not a bad idea. You know, okay, you're adding weight to it, but you want the wing to look half reasonable. So yeah, there you go. I quite like this idea, putting these in. I wish I thought of that. I have seen them before, but you know, sometimes you don't think about it at the time. But anyway, so let's get that other servo in, and we'll sand all of this down and make it look fairly presentable. Oh, there's probably a slight little crack there. But, you know, I don't think you can bend this without wetting it. If you know better, then, you know, I'm happy to hear from you. But I just don't think you can do it without wetting it. But there you are. We're all open to different ideas. I know I am. So if you want to contact me with a better idea, I'm all ears. Well, it's a bit late now, done it, haven't I? I just suddenly realised I've not mentioned some dimensions I used for my version of mounting the servo. Now, on this middle spar here, 1, 2, 3, the third one from the leading edge. Right, you're going to have to bevel this. So I just did a quick drawing. It's not a technical drawing or anything, but it's that shape. So at the top, that's 10 millimeters at the top, and at the bottom is 8 millimeters. So there's a chamfer there. You're losing 2 millimeters at the bottom, and then it's 12 millimeters long, and the back one is 5 by 5 by 12, and that will fit. So if you want to make it out of a solid piece, then that's the sizes I'm using. So 12 millimeters across the top, this bit here, and it's underneath it's 8 millimeters, and that's 5 by 5 at the back, 12 millimeters long, which is longer than the original piece they gave you. So that's just to end on that one. Okay, so just to finish off the top wing, we're now building the ailerons. This needs sanding down. Now there's a couple of things, well, there's one thing not mentioned in the instructions, and this is AH2. They show a photograph with this in, but they don't tell you where to find it or put it in. So there's an editing for the manual, which is here. Now there's just one thing I think I should explain is they talk about, I think it's easier for me to explain it to you. Right, dry assemble each aileron, sand the longest end of rib AR3. This is rib AR3 here, and what they mean is sand it to a point like that, because it's got to go in there. That's what they mean. I don't know why they can't just say that, but anyway, there you go. So yeah, there you are. They say to pin it to the plant. I don't think you really need to, but anyway, there you are. So I've done this this way again. I had no problems with it. That didn't get stuck in or anything. So sand that down, and I'll do the other side. One thing you do need to take note of is they want this on the outside, so facing the wing. Okay, it might be advisable to just run your knife through that, because I had to do it. It wasn't quite as clean cut as it could have been, but anyway, and that's how I did it. With the AH2, now what did I just do with that now? Oh, I got some loose about the hoose. Well, they're here somewhere. They're about to turn up in a minute or two. Right, the slot is not in the middle, so it needs to go at the bottom. So the thin part goes at the bottom, the thick part goes at the top, otherwise they won't line up. And then they ask you to use some glass paper just to put a slight bevel down the run there, so you get this sort of shape. Although it's not too thick there, is it? But yeah, there you go. So that's that really. So I guess that's the end of the wings. Well, the top wing anyway. The next one is build the middle wing. So let's see what we can find with that. So there you go. I hope that's been informative, which is the whole point really of this video, and actually the whole series. You will, I'm not going to say you're going to struggle with it, but I think it's advisable that somebody somewhere who's done it shows you a couple of things that you might not get straight away, because I did have to read things 3 or 4 times. I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything like that. I'm just an average bloke, and it's average people. So I didn't say blokes there, did I? It's average people that build these things, and sometimes you need somebody to go, well, this is how I built this, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know why I'm talking about this now. Anyway, there you go. So I cocked up on beginning of part 12. For some reason I got it in my head it was part 11, and I don't know why. I think it's a sign of a busy mind. Anyway, there you go, and I'll see you in part 13, I think. All right, cheerio. Before I go, I just wanted to check the travel on this. So there you go, plenty of travel on that. This is obviously a temporary setup, but yeah, there's lots of travel on that, so I'm quite happy with the position, and put your minds to rest of any questions you may have about it. Okay, bye.